Look, this the Black Holocaust. I knew it was prophecy. 1,000 times worse than the Jewish atrocities. Uneven playing field, there'll never be a fair score. Cause in 1619, that's when they declared war. We the 12 tribes, the ones that the promise reached.
First and foremost, I want to say, Call Halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai. That's all praises to the Most High God in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ. And this is Yajidiah from the Dallas camp. And I basically want to go into the new covenant, who it's for, what it is, and when will it be established. So let's go into Hebrews chapter 8, verse 8. It says, for finding fault with them, he saith, for finding fault with them, he saith, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. So a Christian will tell you, see, the house of Israel is all nations and the house of Judah is the Jews. That's what they'll say. But if you read it in context, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And watch, we're going to prove it. Verse 9, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers, possessive, their fathers. That's talking about the ancient Israelites. Because we know in the what they call the Old Testament, the house of Israel and the house of Judah split apart into two kingdoms, two nations. So it's talking about a covenant that he made, not according to the covenant that he made with their fathers, the ancient Israelites' fathers. And it's going to prove it even farther. I want you to read that again. Verse 9, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt. Who did he take the lead out of the land of Egypt? The Israelites. Because they, who's the they? The Israelites, continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith Yahweh. For this is a covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahweh. I will put my laws in their mind. I will put my laws in their mind. So the laws will be in our minds. We will instinctively do the law, which we'll continue to further prove when we bring more scriptures out. So it says, I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts. And I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. So this is literally talking about the Israelites getting the new covenant, the house of Israel and the house of Judah, because they split apart. They're going to get the new covenant. He's going to write the laws. The new covenant is where he's going to write, Most High God is going to write the laws in our inward parts, in our mind, so we won't instinctively we will instinctively keep the law, statutes, and commandments. It won't be us trying to fight sin or fight our lust of our flesh anymore. The laws will be instinctively inside of our minds. Next verse, verse 11. This is going to also prove that we're not in the new covenant. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know Yahweh, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. See, a Christian will tell you we're in the new covenant. But why, if we're in the new covenant, why are you still so-called teaching people in your church houses? Why do the Israelites go out on the street corners and teach people? Why am I teaching right now? See, that literally proves we're not in the new covenant. Let's see, verse 12. Also, let me read that last part on verse 11. For all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. The least to the greatest. Not everybody knows the Lord. No, like not anybody. It would be foolish to say everybody knows the Lord right now. Absolutely foolish. But we live in Babylon, and there's homosexuality and transgenderism and rampant sin, Jake eating pork, killing each other, but everybody knows the Lord. Okay. Verse 12. For I will be merciful to their unrighteousness, and their sins and their iniquities will I remember no more. And that he saith, a new covenant, he hath made the first old, now that which decayeth and waxeth old is ready to vanish away. It's ready to vanish away, man. That means it hasn't fully vanished away yet, proving the new covenant isn't here yet. Next verse. Because let's go back. Let's actually go to where Paul. Some people say Hebrews written by Paul. It's indefinite. I mean, you can't really. We don't know. Let's go to Jeremiah 31:31. It says the same exact thing. I'm just gonna read it down. Jeremiah 31:31 through 34. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt. So he's basically saying the same thing. Also proving this is talking about Israel and Judah. Not talking about no spiritual Israel. Which my covenant they broke, although I was an husband unto them, saith Yahweh. But this shall be the covenant that I make with the house of Israel. And after those days, saith Yahweh, I will put my laws in their inward parts and write it in their hearts. Also proving your heart is your mind. Because what did it say in Hebrews? In your hearts, I'll put it in their mind. And write it in their hearts, and I will be their God possessive, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahweh, for they all shall know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahweh. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. Which proves it's the same thing. The writer of Hebrews is just reciting the same thing Jeremiah said. There was no spiritual Israel. So this is literally talking about both kingdoms becoming one and getting the new covenant. So let's go even farther to prove that the covenant was only given to Israel. Romans chapter 9, verse 4 through 6. Who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, the redemption, the glory, and the covenants, the old and the new, pertaineth to Israel. This doesn't pertain to everybody. And the giving of the law and the service of God and the promises, whose are the fathers, and whom concerning the flesh Hamashiach came, who is over all, proving that he came for the Israelites. God bless forever. Amen. Now let's go to 24, because I know somebody's going to just slam this in the comment section. Verse 24, even us whom he called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. And I say, oh, see the Gentiles. See, we cut some coon SICARITES last camp on this one. They say the Gentiles. Let's go to Hosea. I don't know why you would ever go to Hosea to say everybody's God's people. That's just ridiculous. And on top of that, people in the comment section are saying, oh, they're Spaniards because they're being coons. Well, Judah coons. Matter of fact, Judah probably coons harder than Issachar. Are y'all going to say that they're white? Are you going to say that they're all tares? No. So you should stop that, man. That's really just going off. But let's read this. Verse 24 again. Even us whom he have called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. As he saith also in Oz, which is basically Hosea, I will call them my people, which are not my people, and my beloved, which was not my beloved. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there shall they be called the children of the living God. So who is that talking about? Let's prove it. Hosea 1 verse 10, where he's quoting, that Paul is quoting. Yet the number of the children of Israel possessive, the Israelites, shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God. Because they're not They're not called the children of God. They're not called Israelites. They're called something else. They're called Romans. They're called Greeks. They're called Americans. They're called Mexicans. The Israelites aren't going to be called their actual names, which is the Israelites. They're not going to be called Judah. They're not going to be called Levi. They're not going to be called Benjamin. The sons of the living God, they're not going to be called that. They're going to be called what the other nations are. Americans, Mexicans, Babylon, like that, whatever, what have you, man. But it shall say, verse 11, then shall the children of Judah, this is a key point right here. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel, the children of Judah and children of Israel, be gathered together and appoint themselves one head. And what's that one head? That's Yahweh Shai. They shall come up out of the land, talking about salvation, for great shall be the day of Jezreel. What is that? Yahweh's planting, the planting of Yahweh. So let's go into the gospel because it talks about this same instance. Isaiah chapter 61. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and prove that this is the gospel, because I know somebody in the comment section is coming. Let's go ahead and prove that this is the gospel real quick. Let's go look for it. Let's see. Yeah. See Yahushua reading out of Isaiah 61. This is Luke chapter 4, verse 17. And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah, which is Isaiah. And when he had opened the book, he found the place where it was written, the Spirit of Yahweh is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. And he hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives and the recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised. Where is that spot where it was written? That's Isaiah chapter 61. Let's go to it. Isaiah 61, 1 through 9. And the Spirit of Yahweh is upon me, because Yahweh hath anointed me to preach good tidings. See, in the Hebrew, because the Old Testament, the so-called Old Testament, was translated from the Hebrew, so it's not going to say gospel, it's going to say good tidings, which is good news, literally. To preach good tidings unto the meek, he hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound. To proclaim, I wanted to read this part really, because it's going to let you know who the gospel is for, and who this chapter is talking to and about. To proclaim the acceptable year of Yahweh, and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all that mourn, to appoint, I'm supposed to say mourn in Zion. Oh no, it's the next one. To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion. What is that? That's talking about Israel. The gospel is for Israelites. And it's talking about the day of vengeance. And we're going to see why. Well, it's going to be the day of vengeance, because we're going to get our revenge on the heathen for them having us work their fields and having us go through hardcore bondage. And it's going to be proven right here. Verse 3 again. To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they may be called trees of righteousness. Like I said, the planting of Yahweh, Jezreel, the planting of Yahweh, that he might be glorified. This is basically talking about a total flip from us being on the bottom to the top. The planting of Yahweh, that he may be glorified. And I'm just going to skip to the point. Verse 5. And the strangers, the other nations, and the strangers shall stand and feed your flocks. And the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. So the other nations shall work our fields. It's proving the gospel isn't for them. And if we keep on reading, to prove the covenant isn't for them. Watch this. Verse 6, but ye shall be named, but ye, possessive the Israelites, those who mourn in Zion. Verse 6, but ye shall be named the priest of Yahweh. Men shall call you the ministers of our God. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall ye boast yourselves. So everything the Gentiles have is going to be converted unto us. Just like it said in the chapter before in Isaiah chapter 60. It's going to be converted unto us, and we're going to boast ourselves in it because we're going to own everything, and we're going to be the rightful rulers of this earth, and we're going to rule it in righteousness. That's why I said we're going to be named the priests of Yahweh. Verse 7, for your shame ye shall have double, and for confusion they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore in their land they shall possess the double. Everlasting joy shall be unto them. And here's the point I wanted to make. For I, Yahweh, love judgment, and I hate robbery for burnt offering. And I will direct their work in truth, the Israelites. Direct their work in truth. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them. Who's the them? The Israelites. What's the context of this? The gospel being given to the Israelites and the other nations not being a part of it. But in this, I want to make the point of verse 8. He's going to direct our work in truth, and it will make an everlasting covenant with them, which is the Israelites. How is he going to direct our work in truth? Like it said, Hebrews 8 verse 10. For this is the covenant that I make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahweh, that I will put my laws in their mind and write them in their hearts. That's how he's going to direct our work in truth. Let's get another one to prove that as well. Because what's truth? What's truth? What is the truth? This is Psalms chapter 119, verse 142. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. What did he say he was going to do to us for the new covenant in Hebrews chapter 8? For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahweh, I will put my laws in their mind. He's going to put it in our mind when he gives us the new covenant. Going back to this, and I will direct their work in truth. See how it all comes back together? And I will make an everlasting covenant with them. Next verse, proving that it's not for the other nations. And their seed shall be known among the Gentiles, and their offspring among the people. Because so they're gonna see and know that we are the Israelites, a chosen people. Watch. And all that see them shall acknowledge them, the Israelites, that they are the seed which Yahweh have blessed. We are the seed, the Israelites, as blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans. We are the seed that Yahweh blessed, who he gave us the laws to, who he sent his only begotten son to die for, who he gave the gospel to, the covenants, the glory, everything. They're gonna see that. Let's keep on going. Going in, this is Jeremiah 32, verse 37 through 41, to show the time period of when the new covenant is coming. Behold, I will gather them out of all countries, whither I have driven them in mine anger. This is talking about salvation time. And in my fury and in great wrath, and I will bring them again unto this place, and I will cause them to dwell in safety. Talking about us being returned into the land. Talking about end times when we're saved and brought back into the true land of Israel. And they shall be my people, and I will be their God, and I will give them one heart and one way, and that they may fear me forever. For the good of them, forever for the good of them and of their children after them. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them. You see how the new covenant is described? It's always after we're saved. It's literally always after salvation time. It's not now. We don't have the new covenant now, obviously, because a lot of Jake is still sinning. So we obviously don't have the new covenant. I'm going to keep going. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them, that I will not turn away from them to do them good, but I will put my fear in their hearts. What's the fear of Yahweh? Keeping his commandments, that they shall not depart from me. See, we won't be able to depart from Yahweh because the laws will be in our inward parts. We'll never be able to depart from him again. Yea, I will rejoice over them to do them good, and I will plant them in this land. Going back into Jezreel, Yahweh's planting. Plant them in this land assuredly with my whole heart and with my whole soul. Let's go into this again. Deuteronomy 30, 1 through 6. And it shall come to pass, when all these things shall come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither Yahweh thy power have driven thee, and thou shalt return unto Yahweh. So when we hear the law, statutes, and commandments, we hear about the curses in Deuteronomy, we hear about the blessings in Deuteronomy. We're going to call them into mind. We're going to bethink ourselves, like it says in 1 Kings chapter 8. And shall return unto Yahweh. So we'll come back to his law, statutes, and commandments like we should have been doing in the first place. And shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that then Yahweh thy God will turn thy captivity. What is turn thy captivity? Save. Showing you the time period this is happening. Salvation time. And have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations. Just like I said before, we're going to be saved from all the nations. Salvation time, brought back into our land. Whether Yahweh thy power have scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the outermost parts of heaven, from thence will Yahweh gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And Yahweh thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed. Us going back to Israel. Salvation time. And thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. And how is he going to do that? Because it's going to be an everlasting covenant. We're to continue to multiply. We will never fall off again, man. This is a kingdom that will last forever, like it says in Daniel. Key point right here, verse 6. And Yahweh thy power will circumcise thy heart. Circumcise thy heart. And thy heart, and the heart of thy seed. And the heart of thy seed. What is that? The new covenant. He says he's going to circumcise the heart and the heart of thy seed. That's why it says, go back to Hebrews chapter 8. I'm going to read 10 and 11 again. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahweh, I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts. And I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. That's him circumcising our hearts. Let's see, verse 11. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahweh, for they all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. That's talking about our adults and our children. Going back to Deuteronomy 30, verse 6. And Yahweh thy God will circumcise thy heart. That was verse 10 in Hebrews chapter 8. And the heart of thy seed, our children. That's why it says from the greatest to the least of them. Oh, shoot, Salat. to love Yahweh thy power with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. So let's actually go a little bit deeper into that. Let's go a little bit deeper into the circumcision of our hearts. Watch this. This is Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 23 through 29. And I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which ye have profaned in the midst of them. Because we were acting just like the heathen. We started breaking the law, statutes, and commandments. And they're like, oh, this is the children of Israel? These supposed to be the holy people, but they're just acting like niggas, man. They're wicked. They acting just like us. How are they supposed to be the holy people? That's how we profaned his name in the midst of them. And that we still do today. That's why they look at that's why the other nations look at the Hebrew Israelite movement. It's, oh, these niggas? They're supposed to be the true children of God. Look at World Star, man. I bring this up all the time. Look at World Star. Look at these niggas. All they know how to do is do fight comps and twerk. That's how we profane. That's how we profane the Most High God's holy name among the heathen. So I'm gonna read this again. And I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which ye have profaned in the midst of them. And the heathen shall know that I am Yahweh, saith the Lord God. When I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes, also proving it's not for everybody. We're going to be sanctified, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's what the Bible says. Multiple times. And they're going to see it. Verse 24, for I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all countries and will bring you into your own land. It's all the same thing, man. It's all the same thing. It talks about us being saved from all the countries, brought back into our land, and then we get the new covenant. That's when we get it. For the Israelites, the time period when we get brought back into our nation, our actual land. And what is it? Is when we actually have the laws in our inward parts, so we're made perfect completely, so we won't ever be able to go off again. Watch this. Verse 25. Then I will sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean from all your filthiness. And from all your idols will I cleanse you. Because he's going to cleanse us with the washing of water, man. What does Ephesians chapter 5 say? We're cleansed by the washing of the word, man. That's going to be in us, in our inward parts. Verse 26, a new heart also will I give you. That's him circumcising our heart. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them. You see that? That's the new covenant. That's the new covenant, man. And ye shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your God. And I will also save you from your uncleanness, and I will call for the corn, and will increase it, and lay no more famine upon you. We're going to be increased, man. We're going to be increased. Our nation's going to be increased. The land's going to be increased. Everything's going to be increased. We're going to be multiplied above our fathers. Last one, Ezekiel 37. 37, 21 through 28. And say unto them, thus saith Yahweh God, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whether they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. Same thing has been saying this whole time. Us being saved from all nations and brought back into our own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. The new covenant, Judah and Israel. Verse 23, neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols. We won't be able to, because we'll have the laws in our inward parts, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them, salvation time, proving what time period is taking place in. I will save them out of their dwelling places, wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their God. And David, my servant, talking about Yahushua, and David, my servant, shall be king over them. And they shall have one shepherd, and they shall walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them. The new covenant, man. We're going to walk in his statutes whether we want to or not, man. There's no you're going to so-called have a choice. And I'm going to come out with a lesson on that, showing that free will is an illusion. There's not going to be any more. There's not going to be any more sin amongst Israel anymore, man. We're going to keep these statutes and do them. Watch this. 25. And they shall dwell in the land. Same thing we've been saying. Us dwelling in the land. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. And they shall dwell therein, even they and their children and their children's children forever. Because our kingdom will never fall. And why won't it fall? Because we will keep the law, statutes, and commandments. And what causes our kingdom to fall? When we break the law, statutes, and commandments. Because we're subject to the curses. That's what causes our nation to fall. We break the law, statutes, and commandments. So if we can't break the law, statutes, and the commandments anymore, we're going to dwell in our children's children forever. And my servant David, which is Yahushua, shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. You see what time period this is taking place in? Salvation time. Then the covenant. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. And set my sanctuary in the midst of them, the Israelites, showing who it's for, forevermore. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. The Israelites. He's going to be our God, and we're going to be his people. Last verse, 28. And the heathen shall know that I, Yahweh, do sanctify Israel. The heathen's going to see us being sanctified. When my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. That's it, man. The heathen are going to see us getting, number one, brought back into our kingdom. They're going to see us eating their riches, which is us converting all the forces of the Gentiles unto us. All their belongings is coming to us. They're going to see that. They're going to see Yahweh bless us and put his sanctuary in the midst of us, man. They're going to see us being sanctified, not them. Proving who the new covenant is for. Basically proving what everything of the Bible is for. So, Lord willing, I hope that was edifying. And with that, I want to say, call hello, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, and say Shalom.